So hello everyone. I know you guys have now watched two amazing presentations by these three gentlemen here. My name is Susie Kim. It says here I'm a veteran esports personality, which I guess is the title I gave them to put on, so fair. So a little background on me is I've worked with also another $100 million company. I worked at Cloud9 for a while, and before that with Twitch. And I actually lived in South Korea for 10 years, and I worked with a Korean television company called OGN that primarily streams and broadcasts gaming. So I've been in gaming for quite some time over a course of different titles as well, and so I wanted to tie in together now all of your expertises and how that relates with Asia. Fair, since we're here, right? So first, I know Team Liquid, you had said that you have players and you have athletes all around the world. Can you talk a little bit more about your Asia reach and I guess the players that you have here, and what are you doing for the Asian market for your team?
Yeah, absolutely. So China is a really big market for us, and we didn't want to approach it by being a Chinese esports team, right? So we don't want to just go there and sign rosters in titles that we're already in. And so it was really a content approach, and so we really wanted to make sure to open up digital media channels, explore media licensing opportunities that were available to us, and really find out, like I said during the presentation, where's the conversation actually happening, and how is marketing different there. I think the next phase for us will be identifying local partnerships and really kind of becoming even more integrated into the whole ecosystem that is China. Because gaming in China is crazy. China's 50% of esports in terms of viewership. So huge market for us, and our strategy there is to be the most loved Western esports organization, and it's working so far.
Right, so if they're gonna be the most loved, how does this?
The most hated? I don't know.
Okay.
Most followed?
The most followed?
Yeah, you could be the most followed. I'll be the most loved.
So yeah, what does it look, what's the trajectory for you guys and in Asia?
So I came out here in April for an exploratory trip because it's interesting. We're the most we're the most followed org. We've got tremendous brand recognition around the world, including China, which is difficult because the way we're known, typically through our content, is difficult to access in China, and it's happened sort of unintentionally, and it's happened through kind of osmosis, and it's challenging for the rest of the world because there are things, there are small things that we haven't even done, like subtitle our videos to make them easier to consume. The history, not to go into the long sordid history of FaZe Clan, but so I've been running the company for a year with my partner Greg Selko, and it's a huge brand, but was not a business. Nobody was really running it like a business. And so everything that's happened, literally everything that has happened, was just the organic growth of the organization, for good and for bad. And so I was floored and really humbled by how much awareness there was, and by the willingness of local partners to work with us. And it is a really significant, important part. There's several people out here that I've had some really important meetings with, and my view of branching out around the world is not about bringing what, to me, FaZe Clan is about that kind of the swagger that we bring to gaming. And it's not about bringing American swagger and exporting it. It's about growing what local swagger is in gaming. So what is Chinese swagger? as represented for FaZe Clan.
I don't know.
What
What
is
is-
Thai swagger as my, I have actually one employee in Thailand that's
Is the symbol still the same in China, or is it a different type of swagger symbol?
It's
Just wondering.
FaZe is still going to be FaZe. We do have a Chinese name. I'm not ready to reveal that yet. Yep.
That's
all in due
exciting.
time. All in due time. We have our Chinese nickname, as is critical.
Yeah, actually, we're called something different in China too. I think it's really
have to be.
natural.
Yeah, it
so
is.
we're actually Li Kui, which is a Chinese folklore hero from back in the day. He was like a very barbarian, guerrilla-style fighter that's always known for winning every battle.
Awesome.
Modeled
It's a
after
good
Mike
one.
Milanov.
Victorious.
I would have
Yeah.
assumed it was something to do with water,
That was
No,
that
no.
was my guess.
right?
But yeah, the two
Aquaman
characters.
kind of
But
thing.
but
he the opposite?
knowing I've gone through the process of trying to figure it out and get it right, and it sounds like you nailed it with that explanation.
Thank you.
Right? Because
Wow.
because it sounds a little bit like it, but it means something local, and that's kind of the right intersection, right? So.
Other regions of Asia, before I come and talk, I'm so sorry. Other regions of
Fascinating.
Asia, by the way, we're both talking about China. It's not China the be all end all. I think, like I said in my presentation, every game has a different following. So because of Dota 2, one of the games that we compete in, we have a huge following in APAC, and just wanted to throw it out there. Like, it's not only China.
For sure, yeah.
We're kind of taking every market and every geo.
Right, but I mean, Team Liquid started with StarCraft initially, and that was pretty much all Korea.
Yep.
And then from there, it had grown. A lot of the games that you guys compete in.
How about Kevin's Asia strategy?
We're blocked in China, so
No, it's not about
don't call us
China,
anything.
though.
No, so we do a lot of business out in Asia. We have a heavy focus on South Korea, Japan, Taiwan,
I heard
Thailand.
you open a new sales office in Singapore.
We are opening an office in Singapore. A
Wow.
bunch of our team members are here. So if you want to work in esports or video games, you can work at Twitch Singapore.
This is the
But yeah, no. So we it's every. I think the thing we learned a while ago that is still takes some time to process, particularly as a U.S. based headquarters, is every country's so different, right? Just logistically in terms of how you market, what games you think about, what types of content verticals that you go outside of gaming. So it's just very different. You have to treat every country very independently, very differently, do a different localization, different brand, et cetera, et cetera. So it's not as easy as just saying, hey, we're doing something in Asia. You really have to think country by country. But yeah, no, I'm pretty bummed about being blocked in China. It sounds like y'all are having fun over there.
So you guys had mentioned the different games growing organically in Asian regions. A lot of the games that you compete in now are either PC or console based. What are your thoughts on mobile games being a big esport?
Mission critical. I actually was, I sent my head of esports a text yesterday of like, we've got to accelerate our plans for mobile. I think a big part of the reason is about expansion into Asia and how important mobile is. But with 5G coming, mobile is just going to get more and more important, and as also other emerging markets start to really develop in the space. I think it's going to be very important.
Yeah, I echo the same. For us, we are partners with Supercell on the Clash Royale franchise. We're in the North American League, and so that was our entry into mobile. We never did Vainglory or KOH or any of the, or AOV, whatever it's called in the Western world. So we're just identifying every opportunity. Most of them do come out of Asia, right, when it comes to mobile, about successful publisher-created ecosystem for mobile that's competitive and healthy, from an advertising dollar standpoint, from a competitive standpoint, and also has an audience. And we have to believe in the game. So one thing you asked me about earlier is how do you get into games? If we play the game and we don't think it's fun, Steve Victor and I, and we don't see it lasting for 10 years or, being iterated on or being intensely kind of competitive and adrenaline filled to watch, then it's probably not an esport, at the level that we want to be at. So. Yeah, mobile for sure to
You
come.
don't think I can be on your like Farmville team?
Candy Crush.
Candy
Wait for
Crush.
Farmville 3. It's
I'm telling
gonna be
you, I'm
amazing.
really good at Candy Crush. If you guys want to.
I feel like if FaZe entered Candy Crush, like that game would just get so many microtransactions.
I mean,
Your audience would be
like,
so
but
confused.
that is the kind of crazy move we would do, right? Like we would do, like if like one of the guys got, probably one of the founders. So like, I kind of run the company with the 4 founders, are heavily involved, and it's like if one of them one day had a crazy idea about it, I'm sure we would pull it.
Like
off.
who is the most famous
You might
mom?
want to check that one,
Yeah.
If they come at you and like, hey guys, we need to do Candy Crush,
Yeah.
you'd be like, maybe not.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Who is the most famous mom in the world that is like level 2,000 in Candy Crush? You should sign her.
Yeah.
Mrs.
I-
Milanov.
I might have to do some research.
I've passed 2,000. Just
Oh my.
letting you know.
Here,
Anyway,
veteran esports
You
personality.
You guys,
And Candy Crush.
that's what I mean by veteran.
Esports.
Actually, I'm over
the
2,000.
2 of you can fund Susie's future esports pro player career here today. Just commit to Candy Crush.
Wow. What do you guys think? Should we do it?
I think
All right.
so.
Yeah, I like that I'm almost 40 and starting my esports career. That's great.
Hey, it's
Never too early, never too late.
it's true.
Okay, so this panel is called the $100 Million Club. So I think we kind of need to hit on the money aspect of it.
Oh.
How sustainable is this? Like, honestly, I know like we throw around numbers all the time, like, look, we got sponsorship for gajillion dollars, and we've got this for bajillion dollars, and ultimately, at the end of the day, how sustainable, I guess, is this esports business?
Kevin, do you want to go first?
Sure. I mean, it's nascent, right? It's still growing. A lot of what you see in the $100 million reference is, it's paper value, it's equity value of a business, and that's what people are willing to invest in. Now, for sustainability in an entertainment business, you need audience. That's very clear. I think the benefit that esports and gaming has is it's an incredibly young audience. Our average age on Twitch, for instance, is 26. The average esports audience member is 28. The next closest spectator sport live experience is 40, which is the MLS in the United States. Beyond that, even NBA is a little bit higher. I think they're 42, NFL's 48, and so on. So you completely miss the youth through traditional broadcasts. So I think while it's still early days for esports, brands are coming in. There are many different monetization tools now that have been digitized. They're much easier. The barrier to entry to subscribe to a channel, to a paid subscription to a channel, to donate to a streamer, et cetera, is super easy these days. So there's all these different revenue models flowing up, and the audience is there. The audience is absolutely there. It's continuing to grow. It's just going to take a little bit of time for a lot of the monetization to catch up, but I think we've all seen in the last couple of years alone a huge acceleration in sponsorships, in media spending just to reach this audience.
Totally agree. We sold a majority of the company in 2015 to a bunch of investors that are from the sports world. They actually made a new company called Axiomatic, and the first transaction they did was Team Liquid. And some of our investors include Golden State Warriors, Los Angeles Football Club, Wizards, Capitals, Oak Tree Capital, and these are all sports investors, right? So they went through kind of the grueling evaluation grind in the NBA or MLB or NFL or whatever sports it may be, and they know that it's not a angel investment or a venture capital play or an exit, 3-year exit play. So the patience there and the resources that we've been able to unlock have been great. So then I think there's a sports modeling that you can apply, right, to companies like Team Liquid, and then there's kind of a different modeling that you can apply, or maybe a mix of both to companies like FaZe, right, because you mentioned audience. Forbes came out with an article, I think everybody everybody mentions this to us all collectively whenever we go anywhere. And Team Liquid was valued at $225 million about a year and a half ago. I can definitely confidently say we're way north of that today. And that's largely due to the sports modeling aspect, right? So you take a team like the Cowboys, which you had on your slide, and you evaluate
the most valuable sports franchise.
Right, the most valuable sports franchise, which I think now they're even higher than what was on your slide, like 6.4 or something. And the way that you get to those numbers is dollar per capita per fan, right?
And Magic.
And Magic, yeah. And so it's audience and stadium and ticket sales and media rights and kind of what's flowing into your business. And I think something that Lee said really resonated with me, which was, we had to grow up the last couple of years, not just because investors were coming in, but because we had to start running it like a real business. We couldn't just be bootstrapping the company anymore. Whatever sponsorships came in were player salaries, and that was it. And now we really have to focus on infrastructure, all of the supplemental business units around the industry and around the sport, which are helping with valuation. And do I think it's going to go higher? What I always say is, and this is not a sales pitch, but just practically speaking, we're actually not in the fan monetization mode yet. We're still in fan acquisition mode, as I'm sure you guys, talking about markets like China and new expansion markets. There are 1.5 billion gamers. There's 750 million of them that are aware of esports, and there's 300 to 5 million that are actively following a player or a team or a league or playing a game kind of somewhere in the world. Our audience is the 1.5 billion. It sounds like FaZe wants to go even beyond esports and go into lifestyle.
Well, yeah, I mean, I would say we have a little bit of a different model, even going to fundraising. We've fundraised in a way that was like almost a friends and family version of it. We've held on to really almost all the company. Between sort of myself, the founders, and some of the other employees. And we have, there's the investors have a piece of it, but even though we've raised at a much lower valuation than Liquid and a lot of other organizations, the reason why is we did it to control what kind of investors we have. We have one class of stock. We have no kind of preferential anything. And the reason we did it is because is the viewpoint of we really need to control this business. While many of our investors have great ideas, you got to be in the eye of the storm to really make sense of it, and even then it's really hard. I mean, what I say to my staff, I say to everybody, for the most part, is we're taking our best guess at what the company is supposed to be, and not only are we taking our best guess, we have to look at the decisions we made yesterday to make sure they're still applicable today, because that's how fast-moving the space is. And we have kind of an amazing cap table. We have a lot of celebrities on our cap table. We've got some sort of bigger, probably the biggest chunk is Caesars Entertainment, came in for a nice chunk. But we look at it, the Cowboys is a good example because the Cowboys are not the most valuable team because of what they do on the field. It is what they represent off the field that has really unlocked that level of value, right? It's got to be strange that they would be the most valuable franchise in the world out of Dallas. But that's the case, and our view is it's because of the lifestyle aspect that they represent.
Great question.
Yeah. So then all right, I know you had said, and we probably all agree, esports is still in its very early stages. It took off in South Korea, I want to say, late 90s, and I think the West is now kind of catching up and really putting in that money, which means then there's probably a lot of people in this room who are thinking, hey, maybe I want to invest in this, maybe it's like the next big thing. What would you say to potential investors to kind of one, make sure that they're making the right investment for them, but two, to kind of ease any doubt that they might have?
I'll go first. You have to like the operators of the company, right? So if you don't like Lee...
That's with any investment.
Yeah.
You usually bet on the people.
Yeah, so bet on the people. I think there's a lot of people in esports, and so make sure you're betting on the right people is my number one advice. And wow, this turned into an investment panel, which I don't hate, by the way. Secondly, I would say make sure you understand what you're investing in, right? Like, should you go the FaZe direction? Should you go the Team Liquid direction? Should you go with another team? Like, what are you trying to get out of the investment? That's investment 101.
Yeah,
I think that's the key is why are you investing, and are you comfortable with the risks associated and what the trajectory looks like? I mean, I know personally I've gotten some of my best friends to put in money. Some of my people where I even say put in a little money just for the fun of it because I believe I'm sitting on a rocket. Now the other part of what I say sometimes is, this is a rocket that we've launched off the pad, and I've got to make sure that all those tiles are in place and the window is locked in before we go through the atmosphere. And so it's to me, that's a more extreme version of we're flying the plane while we're building it.
All right. Fine, I'll move away from investment.
I just want to piggyback on that. Just this, if you're going to invest in anything, I think this is good advice. People, do they seem smart? Do they like each other? Do they seem like they can work together? Do they not hate each other? Can they argue and be friends? Two, can they put together their thoughts in? It could be a presentation, it could be a written document, but that's basically just a basic intelligence test. Are the thoughts coherent? Is it written in proper, whatever language you're looking at? And does it make sense to you? Can you stress test it? Can you ask questions? Third thing is math. Can they build a model? Always ask for a financial model. So many people I know invest without even looking at even a summary of projections and understanding what assumptions go in. There are a lot of assumptions in esports, and it is a very long-term play. And the valuations these days are pretty insane. Not in a bad way, but they are kind of crazy. So if you think about...
every round is oversubscribed, and there's hype valuation, right? Like, oh my God, am I too late? Am I too late? And
totally.
That drives up the valuation as well.
Yeah, and you look at the multiples on gross revenue in esports verge on 30x gross revenue. That's a non-profitable business, 30x. So that's how wide the swings are in what is perceived equity value in esports businesses. I'm not saying that's bad. I'm just saying that be sensitive to those types of things. When something looks oversubscribed, people tendency to want to pile on. But remember too, like the stuff you invest in addition to liking the team and wanting to spend time with them, because if you're a good investor, that's what you'll do. You have to be able to help too. You want to be able to help that type of business, because then you actually have some, while not overbearing, but still some direct and indirect influence over where the business can go as an investor. Not to be overbearing on the founding team, but be careful, ask questions, network in the industry, get reference checks on the founders, but be careful of those crazy values.
Why are you looking at me?
You guys are. They're a very fairly valued entity in esports, I think. It's still long-standing brand.
Well, Kevin's a successful investor, so I feel good now.
I don't know about that, but.
Did you guys know that Kevin was in LA yesterday accepting an Emmy? Did you guys know about this?
That's right.
Thank you, Mike.
I was totally going to mention that. Thanks for ruining my flow.
I just thought of it. He's literally on Instagram yesterday going, "We won the Emmy for the Twitch original."
It was a cool show.
It was pretty awesome. Twitch as an innovative, an innovative media.
Outstanding. Interactive media.
Yes.
Innovation in interactive media.
And so, Kevin was there receiving an Emmy for Twitch and then flew out here to do this panel.
That is all that matters. Okay.
Thank you.
All right, guys. So esports, it's a baby, and people are investing, and it's going to be big. Where is this all going? What is your long-term goals for your organizations, or just in esports in general? Where do you think this is headed?
We want to continue to win and build all the supplemental business units and reach as much of the 1.5 billion or more esports enthusiasts in the world, and continue to be the most victorious.
Is there anything beyond winning?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a path you can take to influence because of winning, like FC Barcelona. There's a path you can take, like the Cowboys or like FaZe, kind of the celebrity approach. And so I think that's why it's so cool. When I heard that Lee was going to be on the panel, I told Nick and Jasper, like, I think it's a really cool dynamic of folks that we have, right? We have a platform, and then we have yin and yang.
For sure. Yeah, I would say the way I look at our aspirations is I look at eating the entertainment business. I look at taking more and more pieces away from the traditional players. And the slide that had the Lakers and Supreme and MTV, I'm not being hyperbolic about that. We're going to continue to have more esports teams. We're going to continue to take that seriously, and we're going to compete, and we're going to win like we do. We are going to broaden. I think we've just scratched the surface on our merchandise, apparel, and product business. I think the goal of that is to make this symbol, the FaZe symbol, that epitome of cool gaming lifestyle globally, for that symbol to be that. And on the media side, we're going to continue to grow, and we're going to do more short form, more long form. I would imagine there's going to be films, there's going to be episodic, there's going to be international. We are coming for the entertainment business. We are coming for you, Viacom. We're coming for you. I mean, that's the way I
still like you,
Should we be scared right now?
No. I mean, look. I think that people are starting to understand that, right? I think that only in this sort of last year are they starting to take this space as seriously as they should, and they're just starting.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think it's the future, right? I think esports is going to continue to grow. A lot of the work we have to do, and many folks in the games industry and have had to do now for a solid 25 years, is make gaming cool. And that's finally done. That part it's crazy to think that that's happened, but definitely within the last year, gaming is cool. And it's okay to talk about it. It's okay to hang out around video games, hang out spectating video games. That's now a culturally okay thing.
It was that I at least from my perspective, there was the watershed moment was the Drake, Ninja, Travis Scott, Juju Smith-Schuster stream. When those guys got on stream, they had over 600,000 people watching their live stream, and I think the entire world that didn't know about gaming, right? It's the biggest secret the world has ever had, is really the way it feels. And it was all the traditional, all the older people, all the traditional entertainment space looked at it and said, what the hell is going on? Why on earth would, certainly at that time, arguably the coolest rappers in the world be gaming with some dude on, like, how could it be, right? It was the first time it really shattered the convention and made people rethink. And I think from there, the dominoes started to fall about what does gaming mean. And it's like, and I think the other thing it did for other celebrities, and I know, that's how it impacted us, and so we feel it, it's like those guys sort of, the statement was, the water's warm, everybody can jump in. And all of a sudden, we started, FaZe Clan started having, Juju was in already, but then we had NBA players and musicians and other people start to come in because it felt like, okay, we can all come out of the closet on being gamers because it's cool now.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think, just time check real quick. A lot of folks in the music industry and sports industry told us at Twitch, they're like, look, my whole career, 2-decade, 3-decade career, we were told by managers, agents, publicists, don't talk about your love for video games. Yes, that's what you go do in your trailer or in the green room or when you're home with your friends, you play video games. Don't talk about it, it's not cool. And then just within the last 2 years now, they're chasing, they're trying to get into the space. And the good news for all of us in the industry is it's very authentic.
Yeah.
They truly love video games. They truly bond over it. They make friends across the globe over video games, which is something we've known for a very long time, fortunately, in our lives. And now it's cool. So that's one thing. But then beyond that, mobile, to the point earlier, is obviously huge and growing. And there's a fundamental shift in mobile game development where it's not transactional, sort of short-term gameplay session. It's actually meaningful, narrative-driven in some cases, but great competitive multiplayer games that you could play all day. And that's been a fundamental shift that's happened just within the last few years as well. And then when 5G comes, maybe we'll have our Candy Crush Esports League.
We were going to do a Q&A.
We were, and I actually had
we're-
a couple more questions for you guys. I didn't realize we were going to fill up 30 minutes. So
Do we still have time to do a Q&A?
can we have like 10 more
Oh,
minutes?
they're nodding.
Is that all right?
Does anyone want to ask us a question?
Kristen,
in the
you were
audience?
right.
I can't even see the.
Oh, there's a question right there.
Of course, it's red.
Oh, we know
Yes,
that guy.
That guy.
Wait, hold on. There's a microphone coming to you, behind you right there. No, you are the
use it
only
anyway.
person that's that.
Thanks, Mike. So leading into more the investment in the business side, when you're talking to especially sponsors, brands coming in, how do you introduce gaming and esports and what's most important for a business to know before they talk to you?
I think I've spent, with Kevin actually, a certain non-endemic brand that we're talking to, I think we just hit like the 20-month mark in the educational tour, right? Of going to all of the various offices and meeting with folks and like, hey, what is this thing? What's Team Liquid? What's Twitch? What's the industry? Like, what even is a live stream? Can you pull one up? And so it's a lot of education. And yeah, we have a lot of material. That's honestly a major part of our job, right? I think that's why we all have the decks with the slides that kind of start super high level about the industry and then the stakeholders and then, peer through the lens of a team now. And this is who we are. This is what we stand for. This is our business model. This is how we're going to grow. It's a lot of education around industry, and then sometimes there's sticker shock, right? Like, I can't believe this didn't exist, or what the valuations are of a sponsorship. Like, oh, I thought like gaming wouldn't be that expensive. Like, the Ninja Adidas deal probably wasn't for that much money. Wrong, it was for a lot of money. So yeah, a lot of it is education. How do we talk about the industry? We just have decks and slides and phone calls and flying to cities and meeting with everybody who's interested. And then what's really cool is that there are key people at these brands who are not afraid to be a gamer, right? And who are not afraid to stick up for esports and gaming and it being a real thing. It's also helping that various governments are coming out and saying, yes, this is a real career. Yes, these salaries and prize pool earnings are legal. There's Olympics committees, right? Like the Intel announcement recently. There's various things going on for Tokyo Games and beyond. All of that is helping brands that are involved in all of those ecosystems really kind of realize that it's real. And it's helping us a lot. But we have to be really responsible too. So anytime we bring on a Nissan or a Honda as a sponsor and it's kind of their first foray, yes, authenticity is important, but to me what's even more important is long-term commitment. So are they going to re-sign after the first year or after the first 2 years? Because we're not being responsible if they just come in for 6 months and then they leave and never touch the industry again because they had a bad experience. So it's education and authenticity and a good experience, in my opinion.
Yeah, and a lot of numbers.
That's true.
Brands, investors alike, it's size of audience, it's about the hard to reach demographic, right? 75% is in 18 to 34. They're not on cable, they're not really listening to radio. They spend their time between Netflix, Twitch, YouTube, Snapchat, Instagram. That's where they're at. That's where they socialize. That's how they connect with their friends. That's redundant. Anyway, so get your numbers right. There's a lot of different industry reports out there, so you kind of got to triangulate what you think is relevant for you. And then from a brand and investor standpoint, I think it's roughly it's a very similar relationship, right? It's a long-term partnership. You're trying to build something together. You're experimenting a lot along the way. And so it's really building that trust with whoever your counterpart is at that company. But the good news is most brands these days have gaming experts and digital media experts. Most investors now, from the big ones like Sequoia and Andreessen all the way on down, now want or have already gaming and digital media experts as well. So it's about finding the right avenue for those conversations. And then, from your business perspective, communicating what your value proposition is. Why, within the world of esports or within the world of gaming, what is it about what you do that is so valuable to them? What kind of data are they going to be able to look at? What's non-understandable through data that needs to be measured some other way? And making sure that that's crystal clear as part of that relationship.
Great question. Thank you. We have time for more. We have an updated timer now. Who else? Any questions in the audience?
Okay.
All right.
It doesn't seem...
You have any more of yours?
So this is what I was going to end with, right? So you guys obviously have come a long way. We're going back to the title of the panel, the $100 million club. You guys are crazy rich gamers, etc. Have your goals changed from when you first started working? When you see, obviously for you, I can talk about Twitch at its infancy. You've probably joined Team Liquid midway along, but just what were your goals for the organization or for esports back then, and how have those goals changed now?
I'll tell you that for me, it's been an incredible journey. And again, I come from the lens of looking at it from my previous life in traditional entertainment. And what really struck me was, and part of this was, when we got into the big fight with Tfue, and the fan response was humbling to me. And for me, I walked away from a music management business to go do this full time and really kind of burn my ships to come in and do this. And I felt like I needed to invest 100% of my time on there. But that experience to me, the way the outpouring of the fan support and the way they were talking to us was awe-inspiring. And to me, I felt a sense of responsibility to the fan base, and so I'll just, from a personal standpoint, it went from, hey, this is going to be a great way to make money, to something that I've gone so deep into, partially because of how the cultural impact has gotten so significant. And then, being able to get that feedback from the audience and from the fan base has been, honestly, it's been life-changing for me. And to me personally, I've never worked harder in my life, but I've rarely felt a sense of purpose like I do now in doing this job.
I think that's right. I think the audience expects transparency and answers, and they interact with the org and the players on a daily basis so much.
They have opinions about the business. I've never experienced somebody judging business decisions, and it's wild, but it's pretty. It's kind of, in ways, it's cool, and sometimes it's not. Depends on the day.
Yeah, for me, what has changed is mainly the sense to innovate. I didn't think when I joined 4.5 years ago that I would want to be first at doing something so badly, right, as I do now. And so I think it's way beyond kind of just like winning or following or brand development or geos or what sponsorship category are you going to sign first. For me, it's really innovating with business units, supplemental, creative revenue streams. That has changed for me. That really is kind of where my passion lies. That has changed in my role, I think. I also think we grew way bigger and faster from a staff headcount perspective than I was originally expecting. I think I joined when we were 15 headcount and 23 players at the time, like 4.5 years ago, and now we're 200 headcount and 82 players, and so I was just not expecting to be 300 headcount all-inclusive in 2019. I thought that would come a little bit later, and so just to think that the company could one day be 1,000-employee company, like you must have experienced the same thing, right? Like with Twitch and selling to Amazon, and I think you guys are like 3,000 or 5,000 employees now?
No, not quite. Thank God. We're not that.
Well, it's just like it's like super big. So then your role also changes as a manager. So
yeah, and especially you, Kevin. Like you started, Twitch was. It was just
a handful of people,
TV, right? It was like to stream some guy's daily life was the initial idea, and now here you are. Like how has everything changed for you?
Yeah, how has your role changed, Kevin?
A lot. Yeah, I mean, we built Twitch to be a home for gamers. The whole goal was to be a place on the internet that people could hang out around video games and video game culture and share in that, with the hopeful side effect of people get just a bit more connected around the world. You might meet some Korean players, you might meet someone that lives in Kazakhstan, and we hear that all the time. We hear, oh, I can't wait to go to this place because I get to see my best friend who I met in a chat room on Twitch. And that's cool, and I think we all personally benefited from that too. I've got friends in Singapore, in Japan, so that's awesome, and that's what we hope to continually perpetuate. I think we want to take what we've learned in video games and esports and see what we can do elsewhere. We're starting to do stuff in sports with the NFL and the NBA. We're starting to do stuff in music, and we've been doing things in television for a while, whether that's showing old TV series in a marathon format and creating brand new memes that we never knew could exist.
Win Emmys.
We also can win Emmys unexpectedly, which is also awesome. And turns out to be, yes, and a great way to disrupt other categories of content. So we hope we can take what we think is a cool new way to interact with video and translate that into other industries.
All right, well, thank you so much, everyone, and especially these gentlemen, Lee, Mike, Kevin, for being here and telling us about your experiences. And hopefully you guys gained something out of it. So thank you so much for coming, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Susie.
guys.